So I just was wanting to do a test to see how Autopilot would do on a 100-mile drive. I disabled Navigate on Autopilot because it has the tendency of moving over into the left lane. It just likes to camp there. So in this test, I'm going to have regular Autopilot on. With this being regular Autopilot, I am going to be the one putting the blinker on to change lanes, and I'll also be changing the speed via the scroll wheel on the steering wheel. And see basically how much of this freeway it can do by itself and how many interventions there will be over a 100-mile trip. So starting off, I wasn't sure how the car was going to do because the sun was shining right into the main cameras. This is my first real Autopilot test. I've gotten to drive the car a little bit here and there using Autopilot, but this was my first time where I got to actually test the limits of it. So this was kind of surprising to me that it had no issues handling this. I figured the radar would be able to see the other cars, but the cameras show the lane lines just fine. So my first gripe comes right here. Autopilot has a really difficult time when there's a merging lane coming onto the freeway, and this is actually where the first intervention happens, right here. The car sees that the lane got really wide, it starts to shift over to the right and then quickly goes back to the left, and I had a vehicle to my left, so I took over right there. The car may have corrected itself and not had an issue, but I wasn't about to take that risk. Just a little pro tip here, if you have a warning that shows up on the screen, you can literally just swipe it to the side, just so it's not taking up as much space on the screen. One thing I was super curious about was this situation here, where if I turn my blinker on while there's somebody to my side, how much space was it going to give me before it actually moved over in front of that vehicle? And honestly, I tried this a few different times, and it's been pretty solid. It gives a pretty good amount of space. So as you can see here for this exit, there is a dotted line. When there's not that dotted line, the vehicle tends to read that the lane is opening really wide, and it likes to center, and then it realizes this isn't actually the lane that I'm trying to keep in, that's turning into 2 lanes. So it takes a minute, and it centers you back, so it kind of wobbles.
Oh. I was supposed to take that exit.
Yeah, so when I said this was going to be a 100-mile Autopilot test, it was originally planned to be about a 70-mile Autopilot test, but I missed my exit. And in this case, the nearest exit was like 16 miles down the road. So, extra Autopilot testing, I suppose. I don't count this as an intervention because this was me planning on taking over Autopilot to take the exit so I could turn around and go back. So I've been cruising at 83 this whole time, just 3 miles an hour over the speed limit, and obviously lots of people are passing me. And then I come up across this. I see a cop over there, and that was the only time I was speeding. It's because I had these cars lined up behind me, but I was accelerating to get past the semi because I didn't want them to be behind me. and honestly I was a little afraid that I was going to get a ticket there. I didn't have to supercharge, but I wanted to test this compared to my old Model S 85, which would top out at 120 kilowatts. My new car should top out at 250, so I was curious to see what that would be like. And of course, in this case, the two stalls that I tried charging at were both not functioning correctly, and I maxed out at a total of 47 kilowatts. With the battery being warmed up and my state of charge, I should have been able to pull anywhere from 90 to 100 kilowatts. Alright, coming up here is another instance of Autopilot struggling with the merging on-ramp. You can see the right lane on the screen is just bouncing back and forth. The car has no idea what's going on here. Everything was fine, and then it told me to take over immediately, and then that warning went away. Autopilot never shut off, but I don't know why it was struggling with that there. I'm not sure why, but my camera skips over here. What happened was, being on regular autopilot, I put the blinker on to try to take the exit, and it basically got mad at me. It didn't want to take the exit. I didn't even know if it would be capable of that or not, because on Navigate on autopilot it does it just fine. But either way, it cut out there. Basically, autopilot just kind of wanted to fight me a little bit and stay in the current lane. And then I was pretty impressed with this off-ramp. It's kind of a sharper turn up here, and the car automatically slowed itself down and took the turn really well. So overall, I'd give the car an 8 out of 10 for this drive. It definitely still has some improvements. I only had the one intervention, and that was at the very beginning, and I would say that it has come a long ways. The last time I drove a vehicle with Autopilot 2.5, which is what my car has, was about a year and a half ago. I would not have trusted it in the least bit. As of today, I would say that this felt pretty safe, and my biggest complaint, honestly, is just the merging lanes for on-ramps and off-ramps. Once that's fixed, I'll feel really, really good about this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.